बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वसल्लल्लाहु अला नबील करीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़्दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली. Today it is April 5th, 2014. Yesterday I happened to meet an educated Muslim. He was born in a Muslim country, but now he is living in some part of the Western world. During conversation, he asked about Muslims in diaspora. He wanted to know what is the Islamic position of Muslims in diaspora. Has it any Islamic value or not? You know, in the present world, there are more than 10 million Muslims living in Western world. It is said that the tallest number of diaspora are Muslims. These Muslims sometimes call themselves as Muhajir. But Muhajir is a very special term in Islam. Muhajir is a rewardable status. The Prophet ﷺ has prayed a dua for Muhajir. He said, Allahumma la yasha illa asha al-akhira faghfir al-ansara wal-muhajira. So, Muhajirin have a very special status in Islam. Even the Prophet of Islam was a Muhajir. But the question is, who are Muhajir? According to this Islam, literally those who are living as immigrants in some countries, they are Muhajir. But the word Muhajir denotes only a geographical position. It is a geographical term. But Muhajir is something else. According to the Quran, Muhajir is one who is Muhajir fi sabilillah. If his hijrat was fi sabilillah, then he is a Muhajir. Otherwise not. There is very relevant hadith in this regard. Sahih al-Bukhari is the most authentic hadith book. The first hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari is about hijrat. The Prophet of Islam has said, Innamal amalu bin niyat. Innama likulli imrin ma nawa. فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كانت هجرته إلى دنيا يصيبها أو إلى امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. It means that hijrat according to Islam is one that is for the sake of God. If hijrat was if your hijrat was for the sake of worldly interest, any kind of worldly interest, then it is not hijrat. Hijrat is one that was for the sake of God. Now, what is for the sake of God? For the sake of God means for the sake of Islamic mission, for the sake of Dawat Allah. You know, during the Prophet of Islam, there were 3 hijrah. First was hijrah from Mecca to Habash. Then the second hijrah was from Mecca to Medina. Then the third hijrah was from Arab to the adjacent countries. All these 3 hijrah were hijrah for the sake of dawah, for the sake of Islamic mission. So, according to Islamic teaching, hijrah is very honorable act. It is an ibadah. According to Islam, hijrah is ibadah. Because when a mu'min migrates his land and settles in somewhere, he is going over there with his mission. Mission is a part of parcel of a mu'min's life. You cannot detach mission from a mu'min. One who is mu'min is also a part of mission. One who is a true mu'min, mission is also a part of his life. So when mu'min goes to any place, he goes with his mission. Mission means dawat, tabligh, dawat Allah. So those who are living in different countries, especially in Western countries, they must introspection. They must try to know whether their hijrah was hijrah for the sake of mission. According to my knowledge, these Muslims migrated from their homeland only for the sake of money, for the sake of dollar, for the sake of a better future for their family. So this kind of migration is not hijrah. And due to this, you can see in every country, I have traveled a lot, and I found that all those Muslims who are living in diaspora, they are living like a ghetto. Although they are not living in separate colonies, except in some countries, but they are living with the separatist tendency. Their lifestyle, their gathering, all their activities are Muslim-oriented, except job place. Their life is Muslim-oriented life except job place. This indicates that they are not living a mission, a life of mission. Their mission requires interaction. Dawah mission requires interaction. So why they are living as ghetto? Why they are living in a separate environment except job place? Because they have no sense of mission, no sense of dawah. This kind of living is not hijrah living. If they follow this kind of living, they cannot be treated as a muhajir. So I would say that these Muslims have a good chance, a good opportunity to do the work. In every country where the Muslims are living as diaspora, there are so many non-Muslims in their neighbor, in their factory, in their job place, in their workplace, everywhere. So it is very easy to do dawah work among these non-Muslims. And easiest way to do dawah work is to have translations of the Quran and books on Islam and Islamic literature. You can keep it in your pocket. You can keep it in your bag. And you can distribute these books to your neighbors, among our neighbors. But Muslims of these countries have no passion of dawah. So they are not doing dawah work. This kind of life is very risky. It is Mu'min's duty to convey the message of God. It is your duty to convey the message of God to your neighbor. So you are living in the neighbor of Western people. It is your duty to convey the message of God to these Western neighbors. If you are not doing this, you will be held responsible before God. It is a very risky position. So I would like to say that these Muslims who are living in diaspora in Western countries or any other country, they must adopt a missionary life. They must live with the formula, one man, two mission. They must adopt the formula, one man, two mission. One mission is to earn money. One part of their mission is to earn money. The second part of their mission is to convey the message of God to their neighbors. So you have to adopt this formula, one man, two mission. Otherwise, you are living a very risky, you have adopted a very risky position. You are answerable before God. Now we are living in the age of printing press, in the age of communication. So now it is very easy to adopt this mission. Very, very easy. And then I would say that this is also very important for your family, for your life. In the present situation, your migration is a very, very critical migration. It means that you have migrated for your country only for purpose of material gain. Only for material gain. And in your home land, when you are living in your homeland, that was a Muslim land, there was azan every day, there were Islamic activities, there were Islamic institutions, there were Islamic gatherings. So all these things were there. But now when you left your homeland and you settled in some other country, that means that you have migrated from Islamic land to a material land. So you have to legitimize this kind of action. You have to do something that may justify your venture. And that is only dawah ilallah. I would say that simply performing salat is not enough. Some people may think, some Muslims may think that we are performing namaz and that is enough for us, and also we have preserved our identity, but that is not enough. Dawah is as important as salat and hajj for a Muslim. Dawah is a farz. Dawah is an obligatory work. It is not optional. So you have to do the work just as you are performing salat and hajj. So you have to. It is a fact that every Muslim is living in a neighborhood, and it is your duty to convey the message of God to your neighbors. If you fail to do this job, your neighbor will ask you in the world hereafter that we were living in your neighborhood, you were Muslims, you were having the book of God, so why you failed to convey this message to us? Why you failed to give us a copy of the Quran? So these neighbors will ask you this question in the world hereafter. So it is not very simple that you have left your home land and you settled in some other country and earning more money and providing better life for your family. It is not enough. For your neighbor has also some right. There is a hadith that Wale Jarika Alek Hakpan. Wale Jarika Alek Hakpan. It means that your neighbor has also right. You have to fulfill that right. And that right now that you provide some food, some bread, some money. No. The greatest right of your neighbor is to give them a copy of the Quran, to convey the message of God. He is the first right of your neighbor. So every Muslim, every man or woman who are living in diaspora, they must introspect, they must rethink, they must reassess about their life. They are living they are living in a very risky position. It is a great risk that you are living in a country and you are not conveying the message of God to your neighbors. If you are living in a country and naturally they are neighbors, and you are not conveying the message of God to these neighbors, you are not providing the book of God to these neighbors, then you are living in a very risky position. you will be held responsible for this negligence of your neighbors. So, to save yourself, to save your family, to save your children, you have to adopt dawah work. Because if you do dawah work, then God Almighty will give you His blessing. He will shower His blessing to you. So if you want to have the blessing of God for you, for your family, for your children, then you have to do dawah work. Dawah work is not simply an announcement. Dawah work is the greatest duty, greatest divine duty. If you are living in your home land, then maybe your duty is among Muslims. And in your home land, it is enough to do something for your Muslims. But when you are living in a non-Muslim country, then it is obligatory for you to include non-Muslims in the list of your dawah mission. Otherwise, you are nothing before God. Then dawah is not simple. Dawah is a living with the giving spirit. Dawah is greatest giving. There is a verse in the Quran, وَأَمَّا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسَ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. It means that those who are living as a giver in the society, they will be blessed. Those who are living in the society as a giver member, they will receive the blessing of God. So dawah is a highly rewardable act. Dawah is highly rewardable act. Dawah is not only giving, it is also receiving. You are giving something to man, and at the same time you are receiving something from God. When dawah is a rewardable act, then it means that when you are doing dawah work, you are giving something to your neighbor. But at the same time, you are receiving the blessings of God. So it is very important. It is the greatest deed. If you want to have divine blessing for you, for family, for your children, then you have to do dawah work. Dawah work means self-study. First of all, you have to make yourself as a good dye. then you have to make dua. Then you have to establish contact. You have to establish contact with those people who are your madhu. Then you have to provide Islamic literatures to these madhu. So all these things are part of dawah. All these things are part of dawah. So those Muslims who are living in diaspora, those Muslims who are living in countries other than homeland, they have double responsibility. They must do the work upon their neighbors. And in the present world, it is very easy task. There is no problem. Prophet and his companion did the work at the time when there was religious persecution. At that time there was no religious freedom. But now you are living in an age where everywhere there is religious freedom. May Allah Rabbul Alameen bless you. May Allah Rabbul Alameen bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.